What's happening now? 41. The withdrawal of spiritual power from human beings. Currently, about 12% of the human beings living on earth can hear the voice of the heaven. About 12% of the human race can hear the voice of the heaven, and some of them are hearing the sound of the heaven by gaining mystic experiences even at this moment. Some of those who account for about 12% of the human beings on earth are hearing the sound of the heaven through their inner voices or their feelings even at this moment. Some of them are hearing the voice of the heaven while praying or performing spiritual practices even at this moment. Many people can hear the voices sent by the heaven and see the images and holograms shown by the heaven when they perform prayers or spiritual practices. This is one of the ways that the religious matrices have been maintained on earth until now. Many people gain mystic experiences through the world of Yoshi-A-Moon in the middle of praying or performing spiritual practices. This is one of the ways that the religious matrices have been maintained through people who have believed in the existence of the invisible world. When a person gains mystic experiences, hear the sounds that the heaven sends to him, or see the images or holograms that the heaven shows to him while praying or performing spiritual practices, he will have a high chance to be trapped in the world of Yoshi-A-Moon. People who have gained mystic experiences while performing prayers or spiritual practices are obsessed with the consciousness that they are special, and they have no choice but to live consumptive lives, trying to hear the voices of the heaven. They have no choice but to talk about the heaven with the consciousness formed on the basis of what they have experienced. They cannot help speaking of truth at the levels of consciousness they have assessed or experienced. About 6% of the human beings on earth are those who have gained mystic experiences in their present lives. About 3% of humanity has spiritual powers and is using these powers now. Also, about 3% of the human beings on earth are living their lives by hearing their inner voices. The mystic experience that people may gain while they are praying or performing spiritual practices may take control of human consciousness to a degree comparable to the effects of drug addiction. The spiritual power acquired through prayer and spiritual practice is one of the most suitable tests given by the heaven to measure and reveal human pride and conceit. Approximately 12% of the human beings on earth are experiencing the invisible heaven, and Some of them belong to the spirit group created for this role, which accounts for about 3% of the human race. This spirit group includes the Melchizedek group, the Dana group, and the family group of the Creator, and they have roles in manifesting the will of the heaven in the material world. By these groups, various religious and material matrices required for constructing civilizations are installed, managed, and maintained on planets. Of these spirit groups, the most well-known group is a group of dimension managing administrators and administrators of the spiritual hierarchy of planets who are living now on Earth as channelers, shamans, or people who have strong religious inclinations and who have various mystic experiences. About 12% of humanity is experiencing the invisible heaven. Some of them, who correspond to about 3% of humanity, are working as experts in alternative medicine, naturopathy, or folk remedies in the regions where the modern medical system is not developed, or in the blind spots of the modern medical system. They are such a precious group of people who are acting as conduits through which the light of the heaven is delivered to other people without noticing that they have special spiritual powers. They are the spirit group that the heaven has connected with the heaven to operate the medical matrix at the eye level of human consciousness on Earth. Some of the 12% of the human beings who are experiencing the invisible heaven are those who are being punished by the heaven now as a way to dissolve their karmas, and they account for 6% of humanity. They can see the light of the heaven, hear the sound of the heaven and their inner voices, and have highly sensitive senses. People of this spirit group can hear the voices of the heaven regardless of their will, and thus they are aware well that their spiritual powers do not belong to them permanently. In fact, these people are cosmic sinners who have committed felonies in the universe. Their spirits lack both faith in the heaven and loyalty to the heaven, and some of them used to deny the heaven and treat living creatures without respect for life in the universe. Some of them had made heavy karma by living as dictators, denying the heaven. Therefore, the heaven has been sending meaningless messages, images, or holograms to them so that they cannot help but pursue vain and void things, living wasteful and consumptive lives. This is how they are allowed to dissolve their karmas. From March 4th in 2022, the Creator who has come down to the earth to open the world of Hu-Chun has begun to withdraw the spiritual powers that the heaven has given to a group of people who account for 6% of the human race. From March 4th in 2022, the world of Yoshia Moon has begun to be rearranged massively and extensively. Spiritual powers have begun to be retrieved from shamans and psychics, and also from those who have maintained religious matrices. This process will accelerate the collapse of existing religious matrices around the world. From March 4th in 2022, spiritual powers have begun to be taken away from social leaders and religious leaders. The spiritual powers given to a group of scientists have also begun to be retrieved from them. The supply of the heavenly energy that has been provided to the key figures driving the global economy will be reduced or discontinued. This process will accelerate the collapse of the material civilizations that flourished in the age of Seoncheon. From March 5th in 2022, by the will of the Creator who has come down to the earth, spiritual powers have begun to be granted to those who have been prepared as false prophets by the heaven for the collapse of the political, economic, and religious matrices of the planet Earth. From March 5th in 2022, by the Creator who has come down to the earth to open the world of Hucheon, the gates of the heaven have begun to be opened to those who have been prepared to open a new spiritual civilization on the new earth, under the new heaven, so that they will be endowed with spiritual powers. From March 5th in 2022, by the Creator who has come down to the earth to construct Chami 1 on the planet Earth, spiritual powers have begun to be granted to those who have been prepared to open up a new civilization on the new earth, under the new heaven. As the gates of the heaven are opened to the light workers who will lead the age of light together with the Creator, their spiritual powers will begin to be manifested. As the gates of the heaven are opened to the heavenly people who will open the age of spirituality together with the Creator, they will begin to display their spiritual powers. As the gates of the heaven are opened to the light workers who will construct Chami 1 together with the Creator, they will begin to exercise their spiritual powers. I wish all the best to the heavenly people and light workers who hold the promise of the heaven. March 15th in 2022, Udeka wrote.